Just one time. Who are you? You're the Avengers, man.
With Infinity War releasing on Blu Ray this past week, I thought it would be a good idea to go back and reflect on one of the biggest superhero movies and films in general ever made. That being said, of course, this video contains spoilers for Avengers Infinity War. If you have not seen this behemoth of a film, I strongly encourage you go see it. A link in the description will be for my non-spoiler review back in April. With that being said, let's continue with the video. When I first saw Avengers Infinity War for the first time back in April earlier this year, a million different thoughts ran into my head. Seeing the unstoppable force of all my favorite Marvel heroes come together to defeat the immovable object, which seemed to be Thanos, was a little more than my mind could handle at the time. But there was one thing I did know for sure. This film challenged my perception of what a modern superhero movie could be. The Dark Knight, Logan, and Deadpool are among some of my favorite superhero movies for how they turn the modern superhero conventions on their head while still being generally accessible for a large audience. Infinity War does the same thing in many ways, with gorgeous and visually appealing action sequences and quick-witted banter between the heroes that we're used to seeing in Marvel Cinematic Universe films, but still making its mark in the superhero pantheon with a heavily thematic story, a great scope of epicness, and a beyond memorable villain. Before Infinity War, we'd only seen Thanos pull the strings from behind the scenes, being teased left and right, so much so that Marvel itself made a couple jokes about this.
And who is the man in the purple chair? He's purple. It's a magic glove. Doesn't like standing up.
But Marvel truly delivered in this film. Representing Doom itself, Thanos is a truly special villain. One would ordinarily see such a hulking figure and assume that his only goal would be to take over the universe. But Thanos' motives are much more nuanced. Having seen his planet rot due to a lack of economical resources, he decides he needs to balance all things in the universe. Because, as he says in the film,
stones I could simply snap my fingers. They would all cease to exist. I call that mercy.
What makes Thanos such a memorable villain is that he doesn't carry himself with an arrogant swagger, but rather a strong sense of moral duty.
The hardest choices require the strongest wills.
Like any revolutionary, he saw a problem with the world as he knew it and decided to make a change. This reminded me of another one of my favorite Marvel villains, being Eric Killmonger in Black Panther. Killmonger was an easy character to understand and get behind because he yearned for something good, the unification and empowerment of black people. Yet Michael B. Jordan's furious and arrogant portrayal of Killmonger made the character come across as unhinged and therefore misguided, following only his passions rather than logic. The same can definitely not be said about Thanos, as Josh Brolin brings such a commanding presence to the character. Thanos always feels in control of whatever situation he's put in and never feels like he's making a decision out of raw emotion, but rather calculated logic, bringing such a sage-like trait of wisdom to the character. There's a reason why Thanos is my most quoted character of the year. He's about his business, the true hero of the film.
In time, you will know what it's like to lose. To feel so desperately that you're right, yet to fail all the same.
We love the Avengers movies for seeing such a broad cast of Marvel characters come together and stop a larger threat. But this time, the shoe is on the other foot. This is the villain's movie. It's about his quest, his journey, and his sacrifices he must make to achieve his goal, and the sacrifices the heroes must make to stop him. He by far gets the most screen time of any character in the movie, which would go very far to upset certain fans, such as myself, to see some of my favorite heroes barely get any presence in the movie. Yet this is another way in which Infinity War distinguishes itself from other superhero films, how it handles its heroes. In the past films, the Avengers have only assembled the most grave of threats and circumstances, but they've never faced something like this. There's such a looming sense of dread and urgency as the heroes slowly come to terms with the fact that Thanos is the one thing they cannot stop. It's very impressive how the Russo brothers communicate this sense of uncertainty with the heroes' panicked and urgent reactions and interactions with each other, while still maintaining the sense of comic relief that we know and love our heroes for. It's no sort of understatement to say that Infinity War is something of an emotional roller coaster. We laugh as new pairs of heroes interact with each other for the first time, and we cry out in despair as we see our favorite heroes perish. But nothing could prepare us for the final climax of the film. We're led to believe that our heroes will once again triumph as we see them all come together in the Battle of Wakanda. We feel a rush of relief and excitement when the famed God of Thunder finally arrives with his new weapon. And when that iconic score kicks in, we know we're in for a treat. Yet as Thanos says in the film, destiny still arrives all the same. We see each and every hero fall one by one at the hands of the Mad Titan as he gets his hands on the final Infinity Stone. With our hearts and jaws slowly sinking deeper into the floor as we see Black Panther swatted away like a mere fly and Captain America, while holding on to dear life, receiving a vicious right hook from Thanos' ungloved hand. Thor quickly counterattacks, and just as it seems like he's about to deliver the finishing blow, the universe changes forever with a single snap. Watching this film in theaters 3 times, I'll never forget the audience's gasps and protests of shock and horror as they witnessed their favorite heroes turn to dust, one by one. I'll never forget the little girl in the audience crying out, "They can't kill Black Panther," upon T'Challa's disappearance, or the enraged teen who simply yelled out, "They racist!" And of course, despite it birthing thousands of admittedly hilarious memes, the heartbreak of Peter's death will not be easily forgotten. Seeing this easily frightened kid jump into the arms of his surrogate father is a much more heavy image than we were expecting in this film, especially when you realize that this was Tony's greatest fear all along.
You died tonight. Different story, right? Because that's on you. And if you died, I feel like that's on me.
And the shock doesn't even stop there. We see the creature that's slain our favorite heroes comfortably sit in a lodge, watching the sunset, and crack a satisfied grin as the credits roll and Alan Silvestri's harrowing score booms in. And that's the end of the film. There's no epic shot of the heroes perched on a rooftop heroically, no witty quip to distract you from your favorite character deaths. Just a satisfied and victorious Thanos. For such a grandeur superhero film to end on such a tragic and sorrowful note is very audacious on the part of the Russos, but further helps Infinity War stand out from the rest. Infinity War is one of those rare superhero films that has its cake and eats it too, functioning both as an epic superhero blockbuster, but also as a brilliant villain-centric character study with a plethora of thematic elements and moments. Sure, the story isn't the best paced, and many heroes either spend the entire movie dead, thrown around like a rag doll, or just off-screen. There's no doubt Infinity War will stand the test of time as a staple in its genre. Infinity War taught me that even in a film with larger-than-life heroes, you still must prioritize the plot and the story, even if that story ends with the villain victorious. Thanks so much for making it to the end of the video. Let me know how you like this new audio-based format for PAX Perspective of the Week down in the comments. A special thanks to Ryan Montgomery for waiting since April to hear my spoiler thoughts on Infinity War. I hope you liked it. If you have any other suggestions for videos, just leave them in the comments and I'll check them out. Be sure to hit that like button on your way out as it really helps out the channel, and as always, be sure to subscribe for more content. I am Pac. Thanks so much for hearing my perspective, and I'm out for now.